Hi, I'm TonniLea with TonniLea TV, and today I have the amazing Johanna Boman. Did I say that right? Boman?
Woman.
Boman. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I met her on LinkedIn, and come to find out, she also knows Dr. Doug Weiss. And so she does recovery work with women that have been partners to a sex addict, intimacy, anorexic as well. She is a recovery coach, intimacy anorexic coach, sexual recovery coach, and she also helps navigate the brighter future and provide healing resources for those that experience pain as a partner of a sex addict or intimacy anorexic. Would you please welcome Joanna? Joanna, I am so glad that you accepted this invitation. It's been an amazing day of doing all of these interviews. So today we are getting the basis of all of this.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for asking.
Yes. So do you want to tell us exactly what type of coaching you do and what type of people or type of addictions these are?
I'd be happy to. I end up with the the largest part of my clientele are the partners of intimacy anorexics and sex addicts. So I deal with women. Um, they are women who've been betrayed by their partner within their marriage or their primary relationship. At this point, everybody that I have, it's a married relationship that has suffered betrayal. So we work on healing their wounds, and they have to understand that their partner is not going to be the one to heal them. The person that wounded you is not the person to turn for healing. So I'll help them walk through that process, and they gain perspective. They untangle their emotions from their partner's behavior, and their wounds get healed. They get perspective, they get strength, their peace, their joy gets restored. Our goal is that their partner is also seeking recovery and he's doing the work, and then they can move along together. That's the hope for every client that I have.
Do you see that happening in the ones that you have now, or are these women just doing their own?
At this point, I've got about a third of my clientele where the husband is also working with an ASSAT therapist or coach. It's either. And they are doing their recovery work for intimacy anorexia and the sex addiction or porn addiction. Um, I do have a group for women who are separated or divorced and have already done that work, the partner recovery, the partner betrayal trauma, the married and alone, or the partner's work. And I do use Dr. Weiss's books for that, his recovery exercises and steps books. But then with this group, we use the Worthy book because we want to restore their worth, their value, and help them to understand their worth is not based in what humans say. It's not based in what their partner told them they were worth. It's based in who they are in Christ. And that's the goal for that group. So it's a small group. They're all young moms. They support each other. And it's really been amazing to watch them grow.
Right. And that is an amazing thing when you do see them come out of that little cocoon and they start breaking away. And yes, that is
Absolutely.
amazing.
Absolutely.
I've always been kind of curious, and I know a little bit, but would you fill the rest of us in a little bit more about the ASAT?
The actual certification.
Yeah, and what it's all about, and yeah.
Okay, the American Association for Sex Addiction Therapy, and that is Doug Weiss. Dr. Doug Weiss is president of that association. We use a partner model, so we don't use that codependent model when a woman comes to us or a male partner. I've triaged male partners and then move them on to another ASAT. But when a partner does come to us, we don't automatically assume they're codependent or co-addict, which has been previous models that are used in helping people with recovery. So ours is everybody's an individual. They all come with their wounds, they all come with their hurts, and we will walk through those with them.
That's awesome.
That's the ASAP model.
Yeah. And it is amazing, that he is the president of that. So that is so very, very dear to his heart, and an
Yes,
amazing, amazing gentleman. Yes.
yes, and he spends his time training us, trains us well,
Mhm.
and he's open to helping us along the way if we feel like we're stuck with a certain case or have a question. We can join in on one of his supervision groups, even though we're not being supervised, but we can join in and pick his brain. And yeah, so I'm very thankful for that.
Yes, absolutely. So, give me an idea of what led you to do this type of recovery work.
My life,
Your life. Do
my
you
own
feel like you
experience.
have some of that?
Sure. I was married very young and had my two daughters by the time I was 21. Lost a child in between them, but still had them back to back. And I was married for 21 years. Didn't understand a lot then. We're immature. Um, I was taught that women just submit no matter what. God will take care of everything, which is a whole nother topic we're not going to get into right now. However, um, that ended in divorce. There was a lot of trauma involved in that relationship for me. And I worked with a marriage and family therapist for 3 years, and processing through all that trauma and undoing a lot of my own behaviors in response to the traumas. So I was single for about 5 years and began dating somebody that I actually had known and hadn't seen in a good 12 years, and thought, this person's kind, they're safe. I knew them in the past. They believe in God, they have a relationship with Christ. So we dated um, for about 3.5 years and then got married. And the wedding night, the switch flipped and the intimacy anorexic came out. And that was eye-opening. It was very confusing. Most women that come to me are very confused if they haven't explored intimacy anorexia. So I do encourage anyone that's listening to this to Google that, intimacy anorexia with Dr. Doug Weiss. He will explain it properly. Others have it incorrectly explained. I've read much about it from others that it just doesn't make sense based on what we know. Um, then come to find out pornography was an addiction, and there were outside, there was an outside, I won't say many that I know of, but an outside friendship that went beyond friendship at work. And I, for 15 years, um, tried. At year 10 was when I discovered the pornography. A year after that, I discovered the IA, and I was praying, God, complete my healing. I don't feel healed. I had done all this work, but I still felt that there was something in me not healed, not right. Went to a seminar and saw a clip from Helping Her Heal of Dr. Weiss, where he's telling these men that they shot their wives over and over and over and over with an Uzi, not with a 22. And I knew I needed to look into Dr. Doug Weiss more. So I actually contacted a therapist there, Tori White, and began my work with her. And I worked with Tori for about 3 years total, beyond doing my 12 steps and my exercises. And I did a lot of work beyond that too, ancillary to that. And coming out of that, ultimately, he chose his addiction himself, his IA, and walked away. So the last 2 years of our marriage, he had actually separated from me, and I ended up divorced once again. And you do feel like you're a failure, but then I had to remember I completed my vows. And I learned that from Lundy Bancroft in reading his books. I completed my vows. I remained faithful and completed my vows. And so these are things that I bring to the women
Mm.
that they, the gaslighting, the lies they're told, the horrible things that are spewed at them within their marriage, it's not truth. What is truth? So we go back to, what does God say about you? And that's the truth. So that's the story that brought me to wanting to do this. During that separation time, I began working on my certifications.
That's awesome. What an amazing story. You went from the ashes all the way to the beauty. Wow.
Absolutely. I traded those. I
Yes.
traded those ashes, yeah, with God.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep. And now you are completing and finishing step 12 because you are helping other people and you're moving
Absolutely.
forward and sharing and yeah.
Absolutely. And that's when my clients get to step 12, I tell them step 12 never ends. Step 12 is a process for your whole life. Always examine yourself and then always be ready to help another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Giving it away.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes. So, in your therapy that you do, what has been maybe the hardest thing for you to, I don't want to say this, like, you know, help someone do? Because I know that, when you go through this stuff, I mean, there are so many things that happen to women. But if
Mhm.
you could just like, what seems to be the hardest thing for women to get through? Is maybe how I should question.
When I'm coaching women, some of the harder things are unraveling their lies that, well, their spouse's lies that they've been told for so many years because they're so bonded to that. So we work a great deal on trauma bonding and separating that emotion from these things. What is truth? What is truth? What is truth? And we go back to truth always. That's one of the harder things. I've had a few incidents of domestic violence
Mm-hmm.
um, where I give them all the resources. The incident's not happening, but there's the potential. So I make sure that they're well aware of resources, well aware of a plan. Everything is prepared, and if they need to, they can exit. So those are probably the two more challenging things.
Yeah. And those are things that, man, you just do not want to see, nor do you like to hear about, right? Because it
Right.
really
It's
bothers. Yeah.
yes. Yeah. I myself was a liaison, a domestic violence liaison in the hospital where I worked.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I have pretty deep knowledge of how to listen, triage it, get them prepared, and make sure that they have a safe plan.
Can we talk a little bit about that journey that you did, working in the hospital and working with lots of PTSD, that type of stuff? You want to
Absolutely.
about that? Yeah, because that's another area that, oh man, there's a lot of people that are affected by that, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I worked at a naval hospital for close to 15 years before I moved to the VA. And in that time, we had started the Wounded, Ill, and Injured program that's now worldwide. Then it was just a small group of 10, about 10 of us. Um, we dealt with, traumatized wounded warriors that came back to the hospital to do their rehab. The program did expand into mental health, into the chaplaincy, up into our C5 unit, which was where the comprehensive care took place for those needing prosthetics and all the specialty care that they needed. Uh, I made sure as a supervisor that the staff understood how to approach in order not to trigger, how to speak to somebody if they were in an episode, and then, the emergency resources if we needed to get them help right then and there. And I made sure I dealt with my own complex post traumatic stress at the time and had to work through that in those 3 years with my therapist. So I did understand what it was like to have a flashback. I did understand that you're not present. It's not about ruminating. It's not about you're dwelling on anything. Just don't dwell on it. It's not that at all. You can't help it. You are there. You're not here. You're not present in this moment. So I understood how to ground people because I've done it for myself, which helps me with my clients also because
Mhm.
sometimes they need that. So I teach them methods of grounding themselves, methods of being present, and the mind and the body being being. I'm so sorry. That's my alarm. I have alarms all day for 15-minute warnings for the next.
It's all
Um,
good.
but being present in this moment, so that when anxiety hits or panic attacks hit, or whatever that issue is, they have the tools. And so I made sure the staff in my area also had those tools, and we could help them if in fact that they needed that help.
Right. Yeah. And that is so good too because of the fact that preparing others, you know, so that they know what to do with if they would come in contact with it and stuff.
Yes.
Because like I was telling you that gentleman that I had, gave him your information and stuff, and he's a veteran and he works with PTSD and working with alcoholics and that type of stuff. And there's still that, and I was just disclosing to him what I had went through and what had helped me, so
Yes.
then it's a hard thing to go through, but as I was telling Dr. Weiss earlier, that I like to encourage my girls too and say, yes, it is hard work to go through, but we
Absolutely.
also have to remember we're not there anymore. And when we get triggered, and this is something I learned from Tori, was go to that safe place.
Yeah.
Go to your safe place and
Yes.
stay there for a minute. And you can, you know, you know, dwell with it just a little bit at a time, and that helped me.
Yeah.
So, for some of the women out here that are listening, um, what words of encouragement would you give to them? How, because it is hard. It's hard to decide what we're going to do because we have so many people coming at us, and especially if we have children, that type of stuff. How would you encourage them?
First of all, don't borrow tomorrow's trouble. Just think of today. Get through today. You don't have to make any decisions unless you're in a domestic violence situation. Then I would urge you to seek help and get out with your children. But if you're not, if it's you're recovering and doing your work from these wounds, you've got time. Take that time. Be good to yourself. Don't beat yourself up. There's been enough of that. Don't beat yourself up. Don't borrow tomorrow's trouble. Live in the moment, even if it's hour by hour. Take it hour by hour or day by day, wherever you're at. Yeah. And get your tribe. If you don't belong to a group, I know you have groups, I have groups. If you don't belong to a group, get in a group. You need the support.
They make a big difference, don't they?
Absolutely. Yes. I'm still friends with some of the ladies that were in my group.
Yeah, yes, and that's amazing because they do become friends because you've
Absolutely.
been there through some of the hardest times, and who
Yes.
knows you any better, right?
Right. And when a new one comes into my groups, they finally don't feel crazy and they finally realize they aren't alone and there's other people that understand them. They don't have to try to explain, try to make something that doesn't make sense to somebody because it doesn't make sense. So you can't make sense of it. But you can be in a group with a whole bunch of women that you don't have to even explain. They just know.
Right. No safer place to be.
Absolutely. And you've got support.
Yes. Well, do you want to tell everyone that is watching where they can contact you? What's social media website?
Sure. I do have a website, and I saw that you have it scrolling. There's a contact form on that website. Also, I have a page on Psychology Today. If they just put my name in the search, my page will come up. They can email or call me through that page, and I'll get the email or the phone call directly sent to my phone.
That's awesome. That's wow. I did not know that that happened that way. That's
Yes.
amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So, and I do a 24-hour return. So um, I'm not going to ignore you for days at a time.
All right. And I found you on LinkedIn.
Yes, you did.
So yeah.
Thankful. I'm so glad.
I know, Joanna. It was, and it was just amazing because I had, the ASAT is what caught me because I knew exactly where that came from, and so, and then to discover that we know a common lady, and the common gentleman, Dr. Weiss, and so it's been amazing. And you have taught me so much just by all of your knowledge. So I appreciate it. Yes.
Oh,
Yes. I mean, you just have a lot of wisdom and, but it's what you do. And so the more that you do something, the more I learn. And yeah, it's been
right.
amazing.
Yes.
I so appreciate you.
Well, I'm thankful that you even asked me to come here and talk with you.
Absolutely. That this is what this TV show is all about. The healing in 12 steps. And I told Dr. Weiss too that those 12 steps, if we would all everyone would just learn the 12 steps, it would be such a different world, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And some people don't want to do that step 8 and 9. It's hard to face. They're all hard. And that's what I let my clients know. None of this is easy, but it's all worth it.
That's right.
All of it.
Because they are.
Absolutely. They have worth, they have value.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
And so do you.
Yes. Well, and that's what I always tell my girls because you are so worth it. You're priceless.
Yes. Yeah. If,
You are.
yes. Christ gave his
And
blood.
even the gentlemen, I mean, God
Mhm.
looks at us all the same way. So,
Yes. I just don't happen to work with gentlemen. So,
right.
but yes.
Right. Oh, Joanna, I appreciate this so much. Is there anything that you want to leave all
Well,
the viewers with?
I urge anyone who thinks that they might be in a relationship with someone that is a sex or porn addict or an intimacy anorexic, explore that. If you feel alone in your marriage or like a roommate to your spouse, explore intimacy anorexia. Make sure you add Dr. Doug Weiss after that because there are a lot of people saying and talking about it, but they're doing it incorrectly. Um, it's just amazing. I've seen it. And so explore that. If you think that's what's going on, then contact somebody. You can go on the ASSAT website, aasat.org, and find a therapist or coach in your area, or you can call Heart to Heart Counseling Center and connect with somebody there. But get the help that you need. And that's really what I want to leave them with. Get the help you need. You are valuable. You are worth it.
Yes, I completely agree. Thank you, Joanna. This has been amazing. And I just ask that the Lord continue to bless what you are doing. And yes, it'd be wonderful if one day you did not have to do this, right? Sadly.
I always start my emails. I am so sorry that you are here, and I am so glad that you're reaching out for help.
Right. Wise words. All
Absolutely.
right. Thank you, Joanna.
You have a lovely day.
You also.
Thank you.